I can tell you, I also spoke to co-chairman of Disney, the boss, Jimmy Pitaro, who made it very, very clear. We are taking this matter very seriously, and we are looking into this very, very closely. And once we gather as many facts as we possibly can, we will go from there. And that is all he said.
Damn, that ain't good.
And I can mention his name because I received his permission to say that.
That don't sound good at all.
I don't know what that means. I have no idea what direction ESPN and Walt Disney will go in when it comes to this matter. All I do know is it won't be me making the decision. It'll be others upstairs.
Don't be surprised if Shannon Sharpe gets fired or suspended by ESPN. Stephen A. Smith reacts to the Shannon Sharpe lawsuit. Check out what he had to say, and then I'll come back with my comments.
It's involving some news that broke yesterday involving Shannon Sharpe, my colleague at ESPN and my friend.
Crazy.
The Hall of Fame tight end was sued on Sunday by a woman proceeding under the name Jane Doe pseudonym. The 13-page civil complaint filed in Nevada alleges that Sharpe committed assault, battery, and battery. The plaintiff alleges Sharpe assaulted her several times at the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025.
Money grab.
The suit also alleges that Shannon engaged in the intentional infliction of emotional distress. It should be noted that the suit was filed by attorney Tony Buzbee. This is the same attorney that filed a suit against Jay-Z and P. Diddy, alleging they both assaulted a minor.
Tony Buzbee, that law firm, they out for people. I don't know if all the stuff that they filed for these individuals are false or true. Tony Buzbee, he's out for that money. Let's just be real about it. I'm not saying every single case that he filed for these individuals end up being false accusations, but let's be real. After the whole Jay-Z situation, Tony got exposed. So again, if this is a lie, they need to take his license away. He shouldn't be able to just file these random claims on people just for random money grabs. It's a terrible look for the law and also for the real victims out there. This got to stop.
Which has since been withdrawn. Jay-Z also has countersued Buzbee. By the way, the plaintiff in the Sharpe civil suit is not the woman heard in the accidental Instagram live stream incident that made headlines last September of last year.
The only thing with that Instagram video, if you're Shannon Sharpe, I don't know how you accidentally go on Instagram Live. So what they're going to do is all the stuff that you said on Nightcap, joking with Ocho, just having fun. Same way how you talk in the barbershop. Back in my day, I did this and that. Then the accidental Instagram Live video, they're going to add all that to this case. They're going to try to take things out of context, and they're going to try to run up a bag on Shannon Sharpe.
In response to the suit, Shannon and his legal team went to social media yesterday and released a series of allegedly sexually explicit text messages between him and the Jane Doe. In addition to that, they issued the following statement, quote, "This lawsuit, filed by Gabriella Zuniga and orchestrated by her attorney, Tony Buzbee, is a blatant and cynical attempt to shake down Mr. Sharpe for millions of dollars. It is filled with lies, distortions, and misrepresentations, and it will not succeed," end quote. Then earlier today, Jane Doe's attorney, Tony Buzbee, sent TMZ Sports a 1 minute and 36-second clip of an alleged conversation between his client and Shannon. In response to that clip, Shannon Sharpe went back to social media and issued this response. Take a look.
Yeah, as far as that audio of him saying that he was going to choke her, it don't sound like it was Shannon Sharpe on that audio, but I'm assuming it is based off the video response that Stephen A. Smith is going to play with Shannon Sharpe.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Buzbee, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Buzbee targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey, Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out.
Drop
I don't have
everything.
it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabbi, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabbi and Tony Buzbee want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about. And I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all you guys.
I'm actually surprised that Shannon Sharpe actually spoke on it. I thought his legal team would be like, you know what, we'll do all the talking, we'll put out all the statements, but it is good that he did speak. Don't got to go in detail, but he did give a lot of details, like that 30-second alleged tape that's going to come out. Put out the whole tape. It's about 10 minutes long, so if you're Shannon Sharpe, might as well be honest and upfront. People like to see that from Shannon. Nightcap, Club Shay Shay, all the jokes and stuff, but unfortunately, all this may be false, but he's going to take a huge hit in media working on that $100 million podcast media deal. He's going to get a lot of lowball offers just because all the negative press that's happening with this whole lawsuit. So again, I'm rooting for Shannon Sharpe. We got to take down these people that are making these false accusations.
Well, it's a sad situation.
Yeah, unfortunate, man. BS. People lying on people's names.
Shannon
man.
Sharpe is somebody I work with a couple of days a week. Shannon Sharpe is somebody that I brought to ESPN. Works on First Take, which airs on ESPN every weekday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. He's been with me every Monday and Tuesday. We've been number one for 13 years and counting. We've grown close as friends. I'd like to believe that. I certainly root for him. I know he's been through a lot in life. He's overcome a lot of things. And when he departed from Fox, I was more than happy to bring him on board here.
Now, hopefully, ESPN don't pull a move and Shannon Sharpe mysteriously disappears until he can handle the situation. We don't need him to get fired. If you're ESPN, innocent until proven guilty, let this whole thing play out. It's going to be a little awkward on TV for the first few days and maybe a few weeks, but we seen with the whole Joy Taylor situation, Fox, she was still on the air. She did disappear for a few weeks. Don't know if she was on vacation. 2 different type of cases, but still, with all the media backlash and just the negative press, hopefully ESPN allows Shannon Sharpe to stay on the air unless he wants to, fall back and handle this situation. But if you're Shannon Sharpe, hopefully he has a defamation suit, countersuit, try to get money out of her, try to get money out of Tony Buzbee. If he's filing false claims for these individuals, again, terrible look, but this negative press could take a toll on Shannon Sharpe's future in media.
So all I can speak about is what I know based on the reports, and I can speak about ESPN and Disney. To be clear, even though this podcast, this YouTube show is owned and operated by me solely, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be dismissive of ESPN, who employs me in my daytime job on First Take. So I sit here before you today letting you know that they are aware that this is a subject that I was going to broach because I owe them that courtesy.
Even though Stephen A. Smith owns and operates this podcast, when you got a situation like this, you really got to get clearance. Same with Shannon Sharpe if he wants to address it on his own individual platforms. So if you're Stephen A., I'm actually shocked he did talk about this since it's so close to home. You got your main player next to you, solid duo on ESPN First Take. But by him doing this, it's just letting it be known. I rock with Shannon. I support him. I got the clearance from the bosses at ESPN. So I ain't mad at Stephen A. Smith, just making sure everything is ironed out before he makes this video. Got to make sure everything is cool before talking about a subject like this.
With that being said, it's important to point out a couple of things. Number one, I was not there. I can provide no eyewitness account. And even though I got love and respect for Shannon Sharpe, and I'm sincerely hopeful and prayerful that he is completely innocent of the allegations that have been levied against him, I can't sit here and speak to his innocence or guilt from a knowledgeable place because I have nothing to do with this. I haven't seen anything. I don't know anything. I don't even know this person.
Hey, I wasn't there either, Stephen A., but I'm going to go out on a limb. In my opinion, I feel as though this is a shakedown. This is a money grab. All the allegations being made on her part. If you felt as though the situation was bad between you and Shannon, why wait until years later? Why try to get money for your quote-unquote services or just trying to be with them? So again, man, it's a huge shakedown. She's collecting all this info, collecting all the content, threatening to release situations. So again, we all know what this is, but Stephen A. Smith, he has to be objective. He can't be definitive just because, he's on mainstream media. He's on Disney. Accusations are always flying around, so he's not going to really stand on that type of business. You got to let the whole situation play out. Got to watch his words carefully. But again, in my opinion, this is a money grab, and hopefully Shannon Sharpe can prove his innocence.
I know what the reports say. I know the reports, the things that have been reported on a multitude of outlets, from the AP to the New York Post to Forbes to TMZ and everything in between. I mean, I can't even count the number of publications that have talked about it or written about it, networks, etc. It's all over the internet. It's everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And I know
mainstream.
That. I'm fully aware of that. This is not a criminal case. So there is no concern about him going to jail. This is a civil case, which means that he can either be found liable or not liable. The accuser in question is seeking $50 million. That was confirmed by Shannon Sharpe on that video today.
$50 million.
According to the reports, it's somebody that he met in 2023.
Yeah, good thing this isn't a criminal situation, but the only thing I'm worried about is Shannon Sharpe's future in media. Again, a lot of reports are saying that he's looking for a $100 million plus deal, podcasting deal. He has a lot of business with content creators. He has his own individual platforms with Nightcap and Club Shay Shay. So again, he's going to be lowball with offers, even though he'll most likely prove his innocence and win this civil case. Still, it's just going to take a huge toll on him. All this negative press, a lot of people that may want to sign him, a lot of companies, they're going to kind of go through his history and be like, you know what? You had some situations prior, the CBS thing, those lawsuits or whatever the case may be. Now this situation, random videos, Instagram Live, and just things that he may have said before, jokes, but things are going to be taken out of context with this civil case, and when it comes to the negotiation table, when he's trying to get this huge contract. So again, hopefully Shannon Sharpe can prove that he's innocent.
Who was 19 years old at that particular moment in time. According to some audio that was put out earlier today by attorney Buzbee.
Here we go with Buzbee.
You hear the accuser, the female, talking to somebody who is alleged to be Shannon Sharpe. We don't know whether that's true or not.
Don't sound like him.
And the person in question, again, we don't know whether it's Shannon or not, the words choke, as in I will choke the hell out of you if I saw you.
Baited him.
And so because of that, knowing that audio was probably going to come out along with additional tapes, whether they be video or audio is unclear at this particular moment in time, Shannon Sharpe felt compelled to come out in his own defense.
And as he should. Got to speak on it. Again, as long as he got clearance from his legal team, speaking on this situation. Don't think he's going to address it on Nightcap. I'll be surprised if he does that. I'm sure a lot of people in the comment section will be like, look, you going to speak on that, Unc? A lot of people in the comments will troll. And then when Skip Bayless had his situation, a lot of people wanted him to address it, even me. But when it comes to a legal situation like this, you really shouldn't be addressing anything unless you get clearance from your legal team. So again, man, crazy situation. The audio's leaking. I'm sure there's going to be a video leak eventually. A lot of people trying to prove their case. Text messages and just crazy situations going on with that relationship. Again, it looked like it may have been some role playing, insane type of stuff consensually. But again, everything's going to be taken out of context and they're going to try to dirty up Shannon Sharpe's name.
How we interpret that? Let me be very, very clear about where I'm coming from. I'm a bit torn in terms of his response. On one hand, Tony Buzbee has sued Jay-Z. He did sue Diddy. He did accuse them, or represented the woman who was accusing them of assault, and said that she was 13 years of age at the time when talking about Jay-Z and Diddy, and Jay-Z went ballistic.
As he should.
Emphatically denied it, wouldn't let it go. The case was dropped, and now he's suing Buzbee, mentioning words like extortion and other things.
Hope he get a lot of money off Buzbee.
So when Shannon Sharpe brought up Mr. Buzbee in that video that we aired and talked about him being extorted, he brought up Mr. Buzbee and Mr. Buzbee's past. He talked about him, going against African-American men.
As long as you got money, as long as he can prove or make things look a certain way against you, Tony Buzbee, he's going to try to go after you. Again, I don't want to say every case that he filed from his firm with these alleged victims. I'm not going to say everything is false and made up, but let's be real. These situations don't look too good if you're Tony Buzbee. Jay-Z exposed you, and hopefully Shannon Sharpe can expose Tony Buzbee.
There's two thoughts there. On one hand, there's the Jay-Z, who obviously should be presumed innocent, not just because you should be presumed innocent until found guilty, but because of the manner in which he fought on his own behalf and has been very aggressive in going after Tony Buzbee.
Oh, yeah.
In the case of P. Diddy,
different
in the
situation.
case of P. Diddy, you don't know what to believe.
Yeah, that's a whole different situation.
Again, the case against Jay-Z was a civil suit. Diddy was a civil suit. But in Diddy, you don't know what to believe because of all the allegations he's facing.
Yeah, the Diddy situation, he just got a lot of stuff going on, but still, if he didn't do it, he should be, innocent until proven guilty. So even Diddy, crazy allegations. I think the tape with Cassie, people feel a certain way. The court of public opinion, that's kind of going against Diddy right now, but you got to take everything by case basis. Got to look through everything. So again, if there's false accusations, hopefully everybody can prove their innocence. And again, take everything case by case.
But we can't forget that Tony Buzbee was also the person that represented at least 24 of the 27 women that accused Deshaun Watson.
I think a lot of people forgot about that. Who was representing all these females accusing Deshaun Watson? It was Tony Buzbee and his firm. So again, Tony Buzbee, he has a recent history as far as media, entertainment, going after people with millions. And again, if stuff are true, all right, prove it. But I just think with the whole Jay-Z situation, it really exposed Tony Buzbee. So he better be correct the way that he's coming at Shannon Sharpe, because looks like Shannon Sharpe is ready to fight this. Hopefully he doesn't settle, even though you don't want all this media attention, negative press being put out. But you really got to fight this if you're Shannon Sharpe. I know he got the pockets to do so. And hopefully, again, he can prove his innocence.
And at least 23 of those cases were settled. So we have an obligation to mention that.
I wonder why.
So on one hand, going on the offensive to defend himself, I completely understand where Shannon Sharpe is coming from. On the other hand, when his legal team issued out the press release on X yesterday, and they mentioned her name, and they revealed some of those explicit text messages.
Yeah, they were crazy. I ain't gonna lie.
That was uncomfortable.
It was, but
And I don't know if that's a strategy that would work.
Interesting strategy by Shannon Sharpe and his legal team, putting out those text messages, releasing the name, but I want to get away from all the Jane Doe situations. Who are these people? Who are these accusers? Because if it comes back that they're lying, at least we got a name and they can face the same type of punishment as far as a countersuit. We need to know who these people are for situations like this where things don't add up, could be some false accusations. I'm glad there's a name out there, but again, it was interesting that they put out all this information. But it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. Every case is different.
One of the hardest things in the world for all of us to do is to just lay low and be quiet.
Oh, yeah. Easiest thing.
And let our legal team do it. And we don't always know whether or not that's the right thing to do. I know, and I can tell you all, that I spoke to Shannon. Not in details, but I spoke to him. And he emphatically proclaims his innocence.
As he should.
According to Mr. Buzbee, his client emphatically proclaims his guilt.
As they should. That's what it is. Money game.
So So where does that leave us?
A lot of money on the table.
I'd love to tell you that I know the answer to that question, but I don't.
Hopefully, Shannon Sharpe can prove his innocence. And I know Tony Buzbee, he's going to be working overtime to prove that Shannon Sharpe did some crazy things and try to prove that he's guilty. Things are going to be taken out of context. A lot of stuff is going to be leaked. The messages and the audio, that was just the first round. In round 2, there's going to be some crazy stuff being put out there, possible videos allegedly. So
I am the executive producer of First Take on ESPN. I recruited Shannon. I went and got him and brought him to ESPN. But I'm not the boss. Those are other folks. There are layers to this, and there are certain layers even I am not on.
unfortunately.
I can tell you, I also spoke to co-chairman of Disney, the boss, Jimmy Pitaro, who made it very, very clear we are taking this matter very seriously. And we are looking into this very, very closely.
Yeah, most definitely. They got to take it seriously. No matter if you think Shannon is innocent or not, they still got to let it play out. They can't just go out there and be like, we believe in Shannon. He's innocent. He's being lied on. They got to go through the necessary channels, and it could mean Shannon Sharpe's job is in jeopardy.
And once we gather as many facts as we possibly can, we will go from there. And that is all he said.
Damn, that ain't good.
And I can mention his name because I received his permission to say that.
That don't sound good at all.
I don't know what that means. In my perfect world, this equates to Jay-Z, where the case ultimately dropped and Shannon is allowed to continue on First Take and continue to thrive and shine. And not just that, and have an illustrious career in the podcast stratosphere, doing Nightcap with Chad Ochocinco, doing Club Shay Shay, and ultimately gets this $100 million deal that he was all over the news about to sign just a couple of days before this report came out.
What a coincidence.
In my perfect world, he moves on. And somehow, some way, we find this all to be false.
Yeah, if you're Shannon in a perfect world, you can proclaim your innocence, be found innocent, and all will be well. But just with all the negative reports, the media backlash, and just things being taken out of context, it's going to be hard for Shannon Sharpe to move forward. But hopefully he's able to prove his innocence and could get that money, get that bag and run it up. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Shannon, even after this whole situation plays itself out.
But it doesn't seem like that's the way things are about to go down, considering who Mr. Buzbee is and how emphatic his client is proclaiming that she is right and she's telling the truth. I don't know where this is going to go. I can't speak to anything else. I don't know who Shannon Sharpe's legal team is and what they're suggesting. I imagine that everything that has transpired has been at the behest of his lawyers, not just himself.
Oh, of course.
I can tell you again that when I spoke to him, he is emphatic in stating his innocence.
As he should.
That this is a shakedown, to use his words. How wise is it to use those kind of words when a civil matter of this nature is out there? When you have a podcast and you have advertisers and sponsors and you work for ESPN and they have advertising sponsors, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is a tricky situation. You want to proclaim your innocence. You want to keep it real, but you got a lot of sponsors. I think he got Boost Mobile and a couple other brands that are kind of backing his individual platforms. So again, even though he may be innocent and could be found innocent of all charges, just the media press, the media backlash, it could be a possibility a lot of those brands and companies, they may fall back from Shannon Sharpe.
What can we say if any of us were in that position and we felt or were proclaiming we were innocent?
This guy play it case by case.
I don't know.
It's
and I'm
a
not
tough
about
thing,
to pretend.
man.
I just
Tough
wanted to make
situation.
sure that I echoed to all of you that the only reason I spoke on this issue is because he works with me 2 days a week. He's on national television. He was on national television with me today. He was on national television with me yesterday when the story came out Sunday night. I didn't know anything about it until we got on the air. But he was on air. And if you know him in part because of all the work that he's doing with me and what he's doing in this industry, I know everybody's been waiting. Like, Stephen A., what you got to say about this? I got to say what I just told you. I don't know what's happened. I know I got love for the brother. I know that I'm wishing that he's innocent and all of this stuff goes away and he can continue to thrive with me on ESPN and thrive in his own platforms that he worked so diligently over the years to build. But anything else would be entirely irresponsible for me to speak on.
Yeah, he ain't gonna go in
And I
detail.
can't do that.
Can't do it.
Yes, I own this. This is my platform. But I also have a day job and I also understand what lawyers, what HR, and all of those other things entail. What I said is all I can say. And in all honesty, at this moment, it is all I know. I have no idea what direction ESPN and Walt Disney will go in when it comes to this matter. All I do know is it won't be me making a decision. It'll be others upstairs.
In other words, you know, if something happens with Shannon, he gets fired, suspended, or whatever the case may be, Stephen A's letting it be known, like, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I support him. This is as far as I can support him as far as verbiage. Can't go in full detail. He can't really explain how he really feels. Like, this is a shakedown, a money play. People like myself, we can speak on it because we're not at ESPN, and a lot of other content creators, they feel as though this is a money grab. But if you're Stephen A., again, this is the best that you can do. Support your homie, but let everything play itself out. So hopefully Shannon Sharpe doesn't lose his job, but it ain't looking too good for Shannon. The bosses know about this. They're going to let this thing play itself out, but don't be surprised if Shannon Sharpe gets fired or suspended by ESPN.